96.5 The Fox, Bismarck Mandan's classic rock station with free beer, hot wings every weekday morning. We are just a few days away from the North Dakota State Fair. Aerosmith headlining Saturday night, and just a few days ago I found out that Living Colour will be opening for Aerosmith and has been opening for Aerosmith on a few shows this summer, so I thought I'll reach out to Living Colour lead singer Corey Glover on Twitter and see maybe if we can do a phone interview. And Corey Glover, nice enough to respond, and here he is. Corey, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. First off, I've got to say, and I just told you this before we started the interview, it is absolutely awesome that I decided on a whim to send you a tweet, say, hey, is there any way of doing a phone interview? And I think unlike a lot of rock stars, you responded and we got this done. That is absolutely awesome.
Anytime, man. I love the whole Twitter thing and how it really you're able to connect with people, with everybody. I'm finding folks that I've not talked to in years. I'm talking to people that I knew, folks that new and very interesting. I'm following people that I think have got brilliant minds that could say things in like 140 characters. It's great.
It's got to be very cool. I mean, you guys have been at this for over 30 years. Way back when, to meet people, you had to go to a show. You had to write a letter, snail mail. Now, anybody in the world can get a hold of you just by jumping on their computer. That's awesome.
Isn't it?
Now, before we talk about the shows going on with Aerosmith, I want to talk a little bit about the early years of Living Colour, because I've had the chance to talk to Ann Wilson from Heart. I've read interviews with Joan Jett, and they talked about how difficult it was gaining the respect of the rock and roll universe as females. And I was wondering, as Living Colour came out, a band made up of 4 black guys, was it difficult kind of getting respect in the rock and roll world back then?
It was only difficult in that people's perception of who you are was often skewed. And that, I mean, they didn't know where to put you. They didn't know what you were doing. Why were you doing this? You know, and it's strange because the people within the industry understood it very, very, very well. They understood the history of the music. They understood that, you know, there's just a continuum of that. It was folks that really aren't well versed in what was going on in the music, in the history of the music, that really didn't understand it. That if you understood how the interesting things about Hendrix, and you understood the idea that within the context of the music, the influences and the participation of people of color has always been there, you know, and we didn't find it strange, and a lot of folks didn't find it strange. Matter of fact, the guys from Aerosmith didn't think it was strange. We would play, for example, in Boston. We play in these really low-level, small clubs. There's a sort of a buzz about the band. Joe Perry and Steven Tyler would show up to our gigs. We play someplace in Boston on Lansdowne Street or something, whatever, and they'd show up. It's like, you guys sound great. I think this is great what you guys are doing, blah, blah, blah. And we've always been mutual. We've always mutually liked each other and each other's bands and each other's music. So they got it. You know, when we were doing, you know, we'd find ourselves in certain places and people get it. When you hear it, you get it. If you just saw it from the periphery and just saw, oh, there's 4 black guys doing this thing, why are they doing that? That would be a reaction. If you heard the music and you heard what the things that we've been saying, you get it.
And Living Colour had a lot of success early on. You guys won Grammys and Video Music Awards. What do you think that early success, do you think that helped you out? Do you think that maybe hurt you guys a little bit in the long run? What do you think about that early success that the band kind of saw?
I think that the band really was, at a certain point, we knew that we had to continue on, whether there was success or not. That the success of the band was the fact that it worked, that it was out there doing what it does. We weren't trying to burn the world down. We were just trying to make some music. The fact that we had success was more of a surprise to us than the fact that we didn't. The fact that out the box, relatively, the Cult of Personality did what it did, and really it's still doing what it does, was a real surprise to us. And we'll take it. We'll take whatever we can get. Because, you know, there are lots of bands out there. There are lots of, you know, despite what you might think, millions of bands trying to make it out there. Bands that are as good, sometimes better, sometimes not so good, that all feel like they deserve to be heard. We were fortunate, and people heard us, and that they still hear us.
Joined on the phone by Corey Glover, Living Color will be opening up for Aerosmith this Saturday at the North Dakota State Fair. Now, talking about bands these days trying to get heard, do you think that if Living Color were to come out in 2015, you guys would see the same success that you saw? I mean, you guys have been at this for 30 years now. Do you think you would see the same success that you did when you started that you may now?
I don't know. I think so. I think a good song is a good song is a good song is a good song. Fortunately for us, like I said, cult personality seems to run on its own power at this point, because you will hear it everywhere. I've heard it on television. I've heard it, obviously, on the radio. People would tell me that they heard the song at least 3 times a day on certain radio stations. Like, I find that fascinating.
Now, you guys are going to be celebrating your 30th anniversary, or you are celebrating your 30th anniversary this year. When you guys started this
Not
band,
yet. Right now, the Vivid is 27 years old. So yeah, we're almost at 30 years.
So with that 30-year mark coming up, did you guys really think when you released Vivid, when you got this going, did you think you'd still be out on the road? You'd still be making music with this core group of musicians, 30 years later?
I signed up for the long haul personally. I signed up because this is what I do. It could have gone so many different ways. It could have been, it could have had no success and we slogged through it for a little while and decided to call it a day. It could have been that. A lot of bands have gone that way. But we've made a commitment to each other and into the music, so I think that's really what's more important than anything else.
Speaking of the anniversary coming up, you released Vivid back in 1988. The new album, I've heard you talk about it in other interviews. Are you guys working on that? Can we expect a new album soon from Living Color?
Yes. We've finished most of the recording. We're in mix mode and mastering mode. That's taking a little bit of time, so hopefully we'll get it out by the beginning of the year.
Have you found it easier or more difficult to write songs as your career progressed? I mean, you guys have done so much in the nearly 30 years that you've been together. Is it easier now? Is it more difficult now?
The only difficult thing is for us to get together. Our lives have changed, obviously, over the last several years, and we've been, we've gotten married, we've had kids, we've gotten divorced, we've moved out of our parents' house. In the beginning, you're kids. Now we're adults and we have more responsibilities than we did back then. And so the difficulty really is like, okay, just pull out your phones and look at your calendars and figure out where the hell you were going to be tomorrow, so we can get together and get something done. And that takes some time sometimes because, beyond Living Color, there's other things that we're doing, other projects that we're doing and other music that we're doing, and we're trying to, this is our priority, but we have other irons in the fire.
Joined on the phone by Corey Glover, Living Color opening for Aerosmith this Saturday at the North Dakota State Fair. Tickets still on sale, ndstatefair.com. You mentioned earlier that back when the band was getting started playing shows in Boston, the guys from Aerosmith would come and check you out. Now you're out on the road with them. How did that kind of come about? Because Aerosmith could really honestly take any band they wanted out on the road with them. They chose Living Color. How did that come about?
It's hard to say. Part of it is the fact that we've known each other for a very long time, and we have a relationship. We did a couple of years ago. We did the Experience Hendrix tour with Brad Whitford. Struck up a real good friendship with him, and as I said before, we've known Steven and Joe for a while. So it's an easy fit because we know we know each other. We've sort of worked with each other with parts of Aerosmith in the past. It gave us a good leg up because I'm sure there were lots of bands that would want this gig. Who wouldn't want this gig?
Exactly. And how have the Aerosmith crowds responded to Living Color? I mean, you've got to assume that everyone at the show, or most everyone at the show, is going to know Cult of Personality. But when you get into the deeper sounds and the deeper songs of Living Color, there is definitely a bluesy kind of similarity to what Aerosmith does.
Well, yeah, I think that's why part of the reason why we're doing this together, because we have a similar sort of appreciation of the music in the same kind of way. I mean, we obviously don't have the same kind of success that Aerosmith has had, but we've had, we've traveled down the same sort of path.
I saw that last night you were in Cheyenne, Wyoming. You performed at Frontier Days. You were actually presented, the band was, your very own Living Color belt buckles. Now, I don't want to say that's right up there with the Grammy win, but I think having a Living Color belt buckle has got to be pretty damn cool.
It's has given us ideas. Like, we want to make our own belt buckles. That belt buckle is very, 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 very cool. And we had a great time out there. And we met a lot of people, and it was our first time playing in Cheyenne, in Wyoming. So, I mean, this is the other thing that is very interesting. It's like, in the many years that we've played, there's still places we haven't seen. And, you know, Cheyenne, Wyoming being one of them. You know, going to North Dakota is another one. Like, we've never really played in North Dakota.
So this Saturday is going to be kind of a first-time thing for Living Color.
Absolutely. You know, we've been playing places like that. Like, we're playing in Cheyenne. Like, playing in Cheyenne was our second rodeo that we've ever played ever. You know, so and the first rodeo we played was with Aerosmith a week ago. So, you know, we're loving this. It affords us the opportunity to play in spaces that we would never have played before had it not been for a band like Aerosmith.
What are the chances that Living Color becomes like a rodeo house band at some point?
Wouldn't that be great? I'd love that. You know, hit me up on Twitter and let me know.
You'd have reason to wear that belt buckle every single day.
Every night.
So what can we expect Saturday night at the North Dakota State Fair? Living Color opening for Aerosmith. What can the fans expect?
Well, you know, you'll hear the stuff that sort of forged what Living Color is, and some stuff and where we went. Obviously, you're going to hear the songs, or the song that you know, but you're going to hear some stuff that you might not have heard of, that maybe makes you want to go out and get the Living Color catalog and check out some stuff that you might not have heard before.
Saturday night, the North Dakota State Fair, Living Color opening up for Aerosmith. Tickets still available, joined on the phone by Corey Glover. So once the tour wraps up with Aerosmith, what do you guys have planned?
Well, we got a few more dates. In between some of these dates with Aerosmith, we're playing our own stuff in and around the country. And then this fall, we're going to try to hit the road on a few things. We're playing the Riot Fest in Chicago in September. We're doing a few other things around, and we're just going to plug away. You know, like I said, we got this new record coming out. We got to figure out what that's going to be about and how to get it to the people, and we'll keep going.
Finally, and I know my buddies would be upset if I didn't ask. When I said that I was going to talk to you on the phone, the thing that they brought up was the whole WWE CM Punk thing. He used Cult of Personality as his song, as his entrance music. While he was in the WWE, how did that come about? How did he approach you about that? Because back when WWE was kind of getting going, they really made their own songs. They made their own music. They didn't have, they didn't use music from other bands.
No, they didn't. It was a new sort of era of people working at the WWE, and really, CM Punk always used this music and was a fan of this particular song for years. When he was a kid. Shows the power of the song. When he was a kid and he was in Little League, they'd play that song as a team ran out on the field, and it stuck with him. It was like one of his favorite songs as a kid growing up, and it continued to be a favorite song of his as he got older. And when he was wrestling with other companies, he'd use that song. So when he joined the WWE, one of the stipulations that he had was that I get to use this song. It's my signature song. It's what I use. It's how I deal. I want this to be a part of it. There was precedent to be had with that because there was other wrestlers were using folks like AC/DC, you know. So it wasn't like it was a new idea, but you know, on special occasions they did it, and with Punk they did it.
And how cool was it? I mean, you got to assume, as I said before, many people have heard Cult of Personality, but then that song is now kind of given to a whole nother audience of pro wrestling fans who maybe had never heard it. Young kids now hear that song as CM Punk comes to the ring.
Yeah, and or they hear it, or they heard it on a video game. Because that's the other thing that was going on. It was in Grand Theft Auto. It was in Guitar Hero. So it was not like we had. The song had become ubiquitous. Like I was saying before, that the spaces that you find the song in is fascinating. That the song has grown since then is great.
And do you have any idea if CM Punk has left? He's left the WWE. He's now working on being an MMA fighter. Do you have any idea? Have you talked to him? Is he going to use the song once he jumps into the octagon?
He's still working on that, and we'll see what he does. We'll see if he does. I think he might. And last time we spoke to him, he was still working. He was still working out the particulars with that, but he'd like to.
That would be very cool, and then that would introduce the song to just another audience completely.
Absolutely.
It's going to be, man, I'm telling you what, I'm so excited to see you guys Saturday with Aerosmith. Seeing Aerosmith alone would be awesome, but now finding out that Living Color is opening, I am beyond excited for the show on Saturday. North Dakota State Fair in Minot, ndstatefair.com. Corey Glover, again, absolutely awesome for you to tweet me back and to be able to jump on the phone and talk to you for nearly 20 minutes has been very, very cool. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. And, you know, like I said, these are places we've never been to, and to go out there and really find new people and new places for us to be is great. And I'm all for it.